So, yep, you'll be a. You're going to be a. If you're not already, you'll be a local go-to person. Yep. Well, you come to the right place. Yeah. Okay. All right, Rob. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. You can talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Hey, Garrett.
Hey, Paul, hang on 1 second. I'm in the webinar now, and I'm getting ready to click on live on Facebook.
Okay, have you logged into Facebook yet?
No, I have to do that already, like ahead of time.
That's what we saw.
Okay.
So open up another tab. Use the same browser. Open up another tab. Go into Facebook.
Yep.
And I'm assuming you want to put this on the Rio webpage.
Yep.
So go log in and then go to your pages and select the Rio.
Okay.
Then the next step is you go back to your window, go down below to the More button, and say Connect to Facebook. Have you started the webinar yet, or you're just in there?
Yeah, no, the webinar started. No, I haven't started it, but I'm in there now. So where's my? Here it is. Interacting with real estate investor agent. Okay, so I'm in real estate investor agent. Now you're saying go back to the webinar?
Yeah. And go down to the More button down on the lower right.
Yep.
Connect to Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I've done this before. It's just been about a year or so. I can't remember. I mean, it'd probably come to me, eventually. But okay, go live on Facebook. Choose where you want to post your live video. Share on newsfeed. Share on
Page and
manage. Okay. All right, now let's click on real estate investor agent. Yep. Next.
Tell me what you're seeing.
It shows being slow. It says up on the tab, go live on Facebook. So that's a good sign. Remember, there's a couple of steps involved here once I get over here. Okay, welcome to Live Producer. Blah, 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 blah. Live Producer. Hit next. Okay, this is definitely different. Okay, choose how you want to start setting up your live video. Use stream key, use camera, use paired encoder. I don't remember any of that.
What's the options?
Says use stream key, use camera, or use paired encoder. The 3 boxes. The use stream key box is lit up. So let me just select on that since that's okay. Feature highlights, stream health, comment moderation, live chick clipping. Okay. Connecting live video. Let's give that a second.
Now, when you get back to your Zoom window, you'll probably see up the top, and it'll say, it'll either be already connected, and it'll say live streaming.
Yeah.
Or it'll say connecting.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll go live before you start the webinar, or there'll be any action, but I have the page set up as a spectator per se, and I'll be able to give you a thumbs up.
Members and
Get prompted by anything, let me know what it's saying.
okay. Or I can click the go live button down at the bottom. Let me do that. Let me see what else is down here, by the way. Connecting the live video. It still says it's trying to connect.
Yeah, from what I've seen in other videos, it takes a little while for it to connect.
Yep.
Now, whether or not you need to be live or not, I don't know.
Yep. Well, I'm definitely live on a Zoom.
The webinar started, you know what I mean?
I was setting up your webinar for Facebook Live. Okay.
You're live now.
I am?
Yep.
On Facebook Live?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's dangerous. How do I look?
Oh. Facebook Live? Okay, yep, you're live. Okay. Dangerous.
So let me go back to Zoom now. Okay, let's see here. Melody Abraham. Hi, Melody. We're doing something different tonight. It says it is live on Facebook on Zoom screen. Yep. Hey, David. So we're gonna start to stream our Monday night classes. We're gonna call it Monday Night Live. How's that for a title? Through Facebook Live, so that people on Facebook connected to the Real Estate Investor Agent Facebook page can participate, and it may help us reach more people. So, in any case, so I'm going to go ahead and we're still early yet, so I'm going to go ahead and promote some of you guys. Hang on one second. Tom Z, good to see you, buddy. Hey, Tom. I just spoke to Rob, and he's on board. He's committed. So thank you very much for speaking with him today. We've got some pretty good talent in Virginia between you and him and Sonia and Liz and Susan Murray. Susan Murray is just blowing the doors off of this thing, you know. So let's see. Roger, good to see you, buddy. Always good to see you, Melanie. Hey, Teresa. Let's see. Willie Hayes, good to see you. Jeff Johnson, good to see you, buddy. I got your text message back. Thank you very much. David Everett, always good to see you too. Betty, got your text message too, Betty. Thank you. And Augustine, hope you're doing well down in sunny South Texas. Hopefully you got your, I know it was up in the 70s today. So Melanie and Augustine, I hope you both are safe and have electricity, and you look wonderful, by the way. Look at it's like, you know, it's funny, guys, is I know we're live and recorded, but you know, it's just us. When I get on, I'm instantly doing like this because my collar's always crooked. You know, so, and I've seen stuff over the last several months, cats running across the screen and all kinds of crazy things. So you all look great. So Melanie, do you have your heat and your electricity back and everything, or?
Yes, yeah, we're full strength now. It's been lovely. So
Thank
powered
goodness.
up, electricity, internet, ready to go.
Yeah, what a crazy week. If you'd have told me, remember, I've spent a lot of time in Texas. I got family down there, and I've been there in all different months of the year. Of course, it's hotter than anything in summer, but I've been there in December, January. It's like in the 50s, you know. If you said, hey, we're gonna have 7-degree weather in Texas, I would have said, no way. No way. That must be a once in a 500-year thing, you know?
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. So yeah, I wouldn't have believed it either, especially for how long and cold it was. It reminded me of Michigan. So we don't have salts or anything to clear the roads, so it's a mess. So yeah.
Yep. So Augustine, I hope same thing with you. By the way, man, Augustine's just to your southwest. He's down in Harlingen.
Oh,
so,
okay. Excellent.
Yep.
So see ya.
So Augustine, I hope you're okay, buddy. You know, oh, by the way, hope you and your dad are okay. So, all right, let me promote the other folks here. Sam, good to see you. Chris, always good to see you too. Christina Coleman, welcome aboard. We got Christina Coleman in the house. All right, so we are live in more ways than one, and also being recorded. So most of you already know this. The next day, Beverly always sends out the recording of the webinar, and also sends out the upcoming schedule as well as any other, system changes, updates, announcements, things like that. So it's always a really good idea to watch or look for the video and read it, and go ahead and register for whatever's coming up meeting wise. So in any case, so I wanted to let you know we're testing this tonight. We are on Zoom, of course, but we're streaming through Facebook Live so that others can observe who we are and what we do. So I wanted to let you all know that you're welcome to invite people to the Money Light classes. Now, they won't have access to the recordings and the members area, the training material, none of that. It's just a way for them to simply observe who we are and what we do. So if you want to invite guests, you're certainly welcome to. Okay.
Okay.
That's our solution to, because we've been told we have to go to Facebook Live, and I'm thinking, man, I'm really pretty busy. I don't know what can I do it, And so I had the idea, why don't we just take the class we have? We've been doing it for 6 years every week now, so we're pretty comfortable with it, and hopefully it'll be a good idea. So if you guys, what's your feedback? Are you okay with us doing it this way? Streaming this through Facebook Live? But if it would help you, and if you got people on your team, whatever. Yep. Okay, good. Okay. Now, what I thought to do tonight, a little bit of a departure. We've been over some creative purchasing techniques, and of course, we always do a lot of marketing. I've had a couple of investment opportunities present themselves to me in the last just like 3 days. And I always get questions on the one calculator we like to use, and let me share my screen. Now, you notice, guys, I shared my screen first, okay?
Yay.
Yep. See, I'm learning. I'm an old dog, but I can learn a new trick. This one right here is one of our old favorite calculators. It's for looking at a single property, a snapshot in time, and it's very thorough and very informative. I just love this calculator. So what I thought I'd do is, let's look at some of the opportunities that have come my way. And if they come my way, that means they'll come your way, because we always share them. And let's run them through the gauntlet of analysis so you get the practice of doing this. But more importantly, I want you to use your intuition to tell me if you think these deals are good or not. We'll do that before we go into the calculator. So let me go to my email, and I'll bring one up here. Let's see, Kathy just sent me one from Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's look at hers. Okay, property information to multi-units. So it's going to take a second for the email to load. You know what? I've got to promote a few more people, guys. Hang on one second.
Okay.
Hey, Veronica, good to see you. Let's see. Chris, I apologize. I thought I already promoted you. Good to see you. And Anita Davis, good to see you too. And Susan Murray, hot dog. Susan Murray, were your ears ringing? Because we're just talking about you a second ago. All right. Hopefully that got you promoted. And then we had a chat. Hang on one second. Let me check the chat box here. Oh, Teresa, hi. I forgot to give you my welcome message. Happy Monday. Sorry about that. Okay, now back to this. So I'll just start from the beginning. So I've known Kathy for a couple of years. She's in Cincinnati, great student, and she's already working with investors, and she and her husband already owned investment properties. So she's comfortable, just like all of us. We got to do that first one to kind of, break the ice, so to speak. And she did that years ago, and now she's moved up and looking at bigger properties. So in any case, there's a 2 parcel opportunity in Cincinnati, 28 units total. Now the opening list price is 1.8 million. Right now, that means nothing. Just take it with a grain of salt. Okay. One property has 19 units. The other one has 9 units. And I'll show you some pictures here in just a second. Let's first look at the pictures first. Okay, let's do that first. And if you could, just use your powers of observation, look at the outside, look at the inside. So first off, on the outside, and if you want to unmute yourselves or just type in the chat box, either way is okay. Tell me what your first gut impression is of the outside. See, in other words, you got the front door, windows, some shrubbery. And it looks like the lawn's been cut. That's about it. Okay.
It'd be very
That's
easy to
dated.
dress it up.
The
Dated.
back you can see. Dated, yep. Sorry,
Yeah.
David, go ahead.
It'd be very easy to do a little bit of work to it and make it look a lot nicer.
Yep. Yep. So you're both right. And I would tell you, between the three basic grades, A, B, and C, what would you say this one is? I know if you haven't done any studying commercial, if you don't know, A is more like brand new construction, and A plus would be like luxury, high-end.
Looks like a
material.
C.
It is. It's a solid C. So between C, C minus, and C plus, looking at the interior, what would you say? C, C minus, or C plus? C minus would be,
Sim-
kind of right on the edge of you walk away.
Yeah, C
Well,
plus.
I'll be
C plus.
then.
It's tough because I see the floors are nice, but the kitchen is like, so.
Everything's just dated.
Yeah. Yeah. I marked it as a C, and here's why. I will agree, they've done some nice work, at least in some of the units that we can see, but it's the age of the building, okay? It's the age of the building, and you look at the parking lot here, and the windows, from what I can see, are gonna be the older style windows. We'll get closer here in a minute. But let's say right now, it's either C or C plus, because I'm not always right. I don't know everything. So I'm gonna err on the side of caution and either say it's C or C plus. Let's look at the next set of pictures. More interior views. All right. And this will help you see the, whoops, sorry. Let me go back here. See the baseboard heat down at the bottom there below the window?
Yes.
And notice how the window's up about,
Yes.
belly, low chest high.
Mhm.
Okay. That's just because of when the thing was built. So, and also I can see now, looking at a different view of the other building, there's apartments that are halfway below ground, which is okay. There's nothing really wrong with that.
Kind of
And
basic.
window air conditioning units and so forth, okay?
Mhm.
Yep. And then over here, different views of the same property. Look at the ceiling up here.
Yeah. I
It
just
looks like
noticed
somebody
that.
went up there and try to do the sponge effect.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That kitchen, whoops, sorry. That kitchen was tiny. Sorry, I keep losing the, there we
Yeah.
go. That kitchen's pretty tiny.
Mhm.
And then here's, I think, the final view. There's a galley kitchen there. Again, and then look at the washer and dryer here.
Right
It's
now,
like
we
right out
can't
in the
see your
middle of the
photos.
floor.
Gary, we can't see your
So,
photos right now. Here we
it's-
go. Okay, now we can.
Oh,
Now we can.
I recant
Oh,
my C
hang on one
plus.
second. Not sure.
Now we
It's
can.
fine
see-
now.
We can.
There
see
you
it
go.
now.
Why
Thanks.
can't I, new share.
Yeah, just a little bit of lag time.
Okay, good. So in any case, yeah, so there's a window, AC unit built into the wall below the window,
Mhm.
baseboard heat, washer and dryer. I'm glad they have washer and dryer, but it's right smack in the middle of the room. So
Yeah.
really, I'm gonna, let's just say it's a C. Now,
Mhm.
what I want to do now is look at some data. Okay. All right, this is year 2020, which was last year. So that's actual figures. Okay. We're gonna have more data here in a second. I just want to show you the overview.
Okay.
They're saying projected income is 214,000 for the year. Expenses were 79,000. I don't know how they're. I think they just have the word projected because they also project 2021 and 2023 pro formas. They missed 2022. Vacancy 3.5, and they must have no vacancies in 2020, which is good. Operating net operating income NOI 134.8, cap rate 7.49, gross rent multiplier 8.38. Well, don't worry about what those things mean right now. I just wanted to see what they're projecting. So look at the year 2023. They've really jumped up the figures here. They actually went down in expenses and went up in income dramatically. Okay, and raised their cap rate to close to 10%. Now, projections are important. Again, you take them with a grain of salt. And really, they don't mean anything in and of themselves, but they do mean something relative to market data from the surrounding area. So we would always look at market data from the surrounding area to see if their projections look reasonable. But really what we're interested in is data for what 3 years? So go ahead and shout out what the answer is or type it in. What data do we
Current
really
and
want
past
more than
two.
anything?
Current and past two.
Yep. 3 years. And if you could write this down, this is extremely important on a bigger property. We want the rent rolls for the latest 3 years. We want the Schedule E, assuming the owner is using Schedule E for their tax returns for the latest 3 years. And Schedule E is what you tell the IRS. So we're going to go with that one, as far as what data is accurate. And we also want to see the owner's own P&L, profit and loss from their own accounting system, probably QuickBooks Pro, something like that, okay? And then we can see more accurately if their projections are reasonable or not, because we want to project forward. We want to know what we can reasonably expect from the property in the next 1, 2 or 3 years, and potentially 5 and 10 years. There is one comment here, by the way, I should point this out. There's an asterisk that says expenses will decrease approximately $3,700 as of 2021 due to upgraded electric to 100 amp per unit. They also reduced their property insurance by $2,800 and $1,000 in water savings because they fixed a runny toilet. They must have had, I don't know how they let her, and that's $83 a month. I can see that. By the way, if you've ever had a running toilet or a leaky sinks or faucets, 30 years ago, you wouldn't have batted an eyelash. But nowadays, since the 90s, water rates have gone up dramatically across the country, in most areas that is. So water's become a major expense. It used to be, it didn't matter, but now it definitely matters. Okay, let's look at more data and then we're gonna tear this thing apart.
Hey, Gary, how did
Here's
they get,
some rent rolls. Yes, sir.
how did they get to 37,000 on that? I don't understand that. Because they had,
I think it was 3,700.
Oh, 3,700.
okay, I'm sorry. Yes, I need to go get my glasses renewed. Sorry.
That's okay. Yep. Yeah, me too. Now, here's what's interesting, guys. This is, to me, a little bit of a red flag. You see the column that says deposits?
Yes.
And of the 9 units in a 9-unit building, they only have deposits on 5 of the units. That's a big no-no. I mean, if it was me, I would put in the offer, if I was to make an offer, that I want the current tenants in those units to pony up for the deposit, because chances are the owner took the deposit to pay an unpaid rent. And you can't just go do that. You got to go to court to do that. The judge has to say you can take the deposit and apply it towards rent. Because when somebody leaves, there's just so many things wrong with that. So too many red flags here. So I would require that if I was to make an offer. And none of them, there's one from 2006 that has a deposit there, but the 2 first ones are fairly current leases, but no deposit. It's not like they're from 20 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
So I don't understand. Maybe they had a hurt. Yeah. Now we've already looked. Is that all the data? Let me just see here real quick. Yeah, that's all the data. So let's do some calculations here. Okay. So the purchase price, what they want is 1.8 million. So let's get rid of that. Now, while I'm typing this in, let's do a quick straw vote. Shout out yes if you would be interested in pursuing this building just on what we've seen so far. Okay, shout out no based on what you've seen so far, if you would pursue this.
No.
No.
Nope.
Whoops, what did I do?
Yes.
I would.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's 64,000 a door,
I agree.
which isn't bad.
Yeah. Yep. So what's interesting is I would look at it three different ways before I would close the door on it. Also, I know this, if I was from like Toronto or Montreal or New York City or San Francisco, I would probably look at this, because compared to where I am in those areas, you can't even touch anything like this for this kind of money, you know? But let's go through the exercise and just make sure. So initial loan, let's assume we put 20% down, which would be 3.6 million. It leaves a balance of 1.44 for a loan. Is that right, guys? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think that's right. Loan amount. So we have to put down, I miscalculated that a little bit. 1.44 is what I should have said. 1.44. There we go. 360 down. Let's say we have additional acquisition cost of, let's say 90,000. Okay. Well, let me think about that. Let's say 45,000. Okay. Okay, now our loan, we're going to say is 20-year amortization, 20-year terms, and I'm going to make the rate 4%. Whoops, not 45%. That's I would not do that deal. 4%.
I'll lend you the money.
Let's see. There you go. Yeah, who would do that deal?
Right?
So, any case, if we borrowed, yeah, we'd have monthly payments of $8,726.12. Now we got to go look at the rents. We had 28 units. Let me go back to the paper here. Sorry, I can't remember everything. Okay, we want current rents. Or let me get a quick calculation. 214, let's say 215,000. Okay, 215, whoops. 215 divided by 12 equals 17,916 per month, divided by 28. Let's call it $640 a month, okay, on average. We're going to say we're going to zero this out. Zero this out. And I said 640. Whoops. 640. We're going to say 28 units. Okay. And there you go. 215,000 for the year. Okay. Now let's go down to the really important part. Everybody with me so far? We do the purchase and loan information first. All you do is you plug in your loan information here. It automatically puts it in up here and leaves you the net. And you have to put in some type of acquisition cost. Then you have to tell it the rate, the term, and the loan and term and amortization period, as well as number of payments per year, right? And it does all the calculations for you. Then here where it says number of units, that's the number of this type of unit. So we have, I'm going to assume we have all one bedrooms. I know that's not the case, but this is where you put the number of units for each type of unit. Okay. All right. Now down here, they said 3.5% vacancy. I personally think that's high. Vacancy rates right now across the country are almost zero in most cases, just flat. You can't, there's a big demand for multi-unit properties. Okay. Now, oops, maybe it doesn't let me do percentages. Hang on one second. Yeah, it didn't like that. Let's leave it at 3. Okay. Effective rental income. Now I believe they had laundry inside the units. That's not good. They did have garages. I would always separate the garages and rent them out separately. That way you get more money.
Mhm.
Okay. So other income not affected by vacancy. Let's say the garages, I think there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that we get $100 a month. That's 600 times 12. That's what's 600 times 12? Is that 7,200? Is that right? Yeah, 7,200. Okay. Other income affected by vacancy, yeah. No, it reduced it. What the heck? That should be a plus. Let's do that down here, 7,200. There we go. Okay. Now, real quick, let me check the chat messages, guys. I want to make sure we don't have any questions. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. So Tom, Shirley, and Jeff all said they would look further, and I knew all three. I know Jeff. Jeff and I know each other for a while. He's been looking at some bigger properties up in the Detroit area. I know Shirley's got a lot of years' experience in commercial, and I know Tom, my cousin Tom, has also worked with investors in the past. Everybody else was a yes. And Anthony, so Tony, it's a 28 unit building. Yep. Okay. So back here, so notice they didn't say yes or no. They said they would get more information. Pretty neat. Okay, property taxes. We definitely got to change that. And I can't remember if they gave us the information or not. But let's assume property taxes are going to be 36,000 for the year. Okay. Property insurance is going to be, I think they said 12,000. I'd like to see that. Management, let's figure, okay, 215,000. Let's figure 20,000 for management. Okay. What about payroll, maintenance, and repairs? It's 28 units. Let's call it 30 units times 100. That's 300. That's 3,000. Oops, 3,000. Let's make labor 3,000. Now this does not include capital outlays. In other words, maintenance and repairs is just simply, minor maintenance and repairs. We really don't account for capital outlays here. We will when we get closer to making an offer. If we know we need a new roof, we will back the cost of the roof off of the net operating income. That's how we do that. Okay, utilities, let's say we're not paying anything. No, we're going to pay the water. That's right. So let's say water is 30, let's call that 9,000.
Gary,
By the way, if anybody has any other figures you want to put in, what's that?
Is $215 annually per unit enough for repairs and labor, you think?
It should be 100. Oh no, that should be more than that. I'm sorry. So 30 units, I figure 100 a unit. That's 303,000. That should be like 36,000. Let's do that. Thank you, David. That's 72,000 for 30 units. That's what does it come out to? 72,000 divided by 30. I just want to double check this. Or sorry, 72,000 divided by 30. It should actually be half of that. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is just minor maintenance and repairs. Let's just delete this one. There. Okay, water. That's about. That should be okay. Might be a little bit light here. Let's see, advertising, lawn care. We definitely gonna have some lawn care. Let's call that 1,200. Oops. Snow removal there in Cincinnati. They're gonna probably have some snow removal. Okay. So total operating expenses were already up to 115,000, which leaves net operating income of 100,000. We need that to pay for our mortgage and also pay ourselves. Well, the annual debt service is 104,000. Okay. So right now, this thing, if we bought it the way they're advertising it, we'd have a net loss of over $4,000 per year. Okay. Now, that's just one way of looking at it. We already did one thing, one suggestion, which was add some parking income. Okay.
Can we force appreciation?
Yeah, if you look here, off to the right, it says if you had a 10% cap rate, what would you sell it for? And so what if scenario, then you would sell it for 436, cash out, sale cash out. I don't know what this thing's doing, but that's not right. You would lose money if you sold it, is what they're saying. So there's another calculator, guys. If we have time, I'll show you. It's the online one where there's a link, and you go to the online calculator to do projections, so it gives you a 4% appreciation rate. But this calculator just gives you a snapshot in time. So what I want to do is go back here. Do you guys think we can get more rents per unit? I think that we probably could. In fact, let's go back to her pro forma. All right. They're suggesting that they can add over a 3-year period, 215 and 253, another $40,000, about 20% increase, okay, in rents. So let's do that here. Let's say we're going to add 20%, which would be 120 plus 8, 128. Let's call it 130 more. That would be 770 per unit. Okay. And let's see what
Hey,
happens.
Gary, they do have they do have 7 2-bedrooms on there, not 28 1-bedrooms. So, you know, you could adjust that as well, because obviously there's going to be more rent on those.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, what I did is I just for the exercise, just to yeah. So I figured an
Because
average.
that's what maybe another buck,
Let me go back
maybe
to the
another
figures
$100,
and see.
100,
I don't think
150 a month for another bedroom.
Yeah, it depends. So there's a tool we can use, Jeff. It's from HUD. We were looking at that the other week, and you can plug in the area like Cincinnati, and it tells you what the rates are per type of property. In other words, the efficiency, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, and you can then see what the greatest need is. If there's a big gap or big jump from 2 to 3 bedrooms, that means generally people are paying top dollar for 3 bedrooms because there's probably a shortage. So we would know, we will look for buildings that have 3 bedrooms. For this here, if we just added $140 on average, is that right, or $130 per average on average per unit. Some will be maybe 7, some will be 850. For Cincinnati and a grade C property, I think that would probably be about right. I know another one we'll look at here in a minute, down in Newport News, we're getting $950 for 3-bedroom townhomes, but they're newer buildings. They're built in post 1978, like 1980, something like that. But for this here, if we raise the rents to what we believe they should be or could be, it then gave us net operating income of 142,000. All right. You see the cap rate jumped to 8%, and you put 38,000 in your pocket. Okay. Now, if you put down a down payment of essentially 360,000, because you had 45,000 in closing costs. If you put down 360,000, would you do the deal if you got 38,000 per year? That's a slightly more, it's called a 10% return on your initial investment. So who would do that deal if you believed you would get a 10% return? In other words, 38,000 on a down payment of 360. So you go ahead and don't be shy. Just say yes if you would, let's say, consider doing that deal.
I would consider it, because as it stands, the numbers without the 2-bedroom number in there is not accurate. And then you have all the extras, which are like the garages that haven't been accounted for. So that could, you know,
Yep.
that could generate a lot of revenue, and that could change the bottom line. So I would look at it a little further, but I would still look at it, because 10%, you might get up to maybe 15%, you know, with raised rents and that. So
Yeah.
I don't own a 28 unit, so I'm just guessing.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's good. And I'm going to go back. So Melanie said she consider it because there's upside potential. Susan said she has no idea what a good rate is. And Susan, I love that question, because cap rate is really relative to the area more than anything. It's the area, the macro area, then the micro area like the neighborhood, and then the grade of the property, right? So A, B, or C grade. Now on a C grade property, guys, here's where we get into a conundrum here. In a C grade property, would you generally expect a higher cap rate or a lower cap rate on a C grade property? All of the factors get lower. Yeah, I would actually higher, yeah. Because a C grade property generally has a lower cost basis relative to rents, okay? So in Cincinnati, great area, by the way, been there a number of times. A C grade property, I'd want to see a 10% or greater cap rate. And remember, cap rate is inversely proportionate, inversely related to the net operating income. So, you know, if you have I'm sorry, to the value, the price of the property. So the lower price of the property, the higher the cap rate, you know. Now, Chris made a good comment too. Chris Latham, thanks, Chris. What if we did a value add on the property? What if we made improvements into the property, landscaping? David Edwards mentioned this at the beginning too. What if we took the front of this property, right, and dressed up these windows, maybe put awnings around them, put a nice build out a covered roof over the front door there, redid some shrubbery and some flowers, of course, green up the lawn. And then in the interior, right, we can do some upgrades there. We can do a higher end kitchen, higher end bathroom with tile. They've already got great, looks like wooden floors here. If they're laminate, they're pretty good. We could make the windows, replace all the windows, right? Traco windows, Anderson windows, things like that. All right. So what if we raise the quality of the building to be a C plus or a B minus? Well, then we could raise the rents. Okay. So let's go back here. Now, if you do that, we have to go back up top of this calculator here. If we spend all that money.
Hey, Gary, we don't know what the rental rate
Yes.
is or the square footage is on any of these units, because I just been screwing around online while you're going through this and finding some other properties, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, that are literally 8 blocks away, that are 700 square foot, that are renting for between $750 and $1,000 a month.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this. Let's say we made some improvements and we raised the rents to $875. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Yeah. Now this is we're not done yet. We just want to do an example here. All of a sudden, cap rate went up to just a hair shy of 10%, but look at the cash flow, 72,000. Now here's the kicker. We didn't just put in 360,000 for the down payment. How much money did we have to invest, right, to make the upgrades? Maybe we spent, so 28 units, maybe we spent, let's do this. Let's say it's break even. Let's say we reduced the price by 300,000, but we put 300,000 in the property right off the bat, capital improvements. So we got 1.8 million into it, purchase and remodel. Okay. And now we're looking at, you pay 1.5, you put down 300,000, you put in 300,000. So let's say you spent 600,000 on down payment and remodeling. Would you invest 600,000 if you thought you would get 72,000 per year on the back end? So now this is starting to look a little more tempting, right? So this is what really good investors do. They keep playing with it to see how they can make it work. Then at the end of the day, they asked a question, 2 questions. How reasonable is it for us to assume we can get the property for 1.5 and we can get the increased rents in value by adding 300,000 in improvements? And they would basically do a scenario we call upside potential versus downside risk. And that was one of the things that Melanie brought up. She said it had she would consider because of the upside potential. So here's something I want you to write this down or just etch it in your memory. Whenever you're looking at decisions like this, you want to grade the upside potential like on a scale of 1 to 10. Hey, this is a 10 upside potential, or a 1 not much upside potential. You also want to grade the downside risk. What are all the things that could go wrong? How much is it going to cost me if it did go wrong? You know, all the downside risk, and you grade that. It's all sort of subjective and intuitive, but you have to do that type of an equation. So what I look at is I want the upside risk to be far greater than the downside. I'm sorry, the upside potential to be far greater than the downside risk. In other words, I want to see an upside potential of 7 or 8 with a downside risk of maybe 3 or 4 at most. That make sense, guys? So I don't want to see a break even. I want to see much more upside potential to more than outweigh any potential downside risk. So does that make sense?
Yes, that's very helpful.
Yep. And by the way, that equation right there is true for not just investing in real estate. It's true for anything in life, like relationships. I mean, it sounds crazy, but there's people out there that can either improve your life or make it not so good. So sometimes you got to do the equation. Okay, so that's
Barry, would you
yep.
repeat that ratio, please?
Love it.
Yeah, it's the upside potential weighed against the downside risk. And for me, I want to see an upside potential that's about twice as much as the downside risk. In other words, I want to see like a 7 or 8 upside potential versus a 3 or 4 downside risk, right? That's it. It's all subjective, but it's only subjective to the degree that you have data. That's why I always say, man, education plus information plus action equals, it's the right education plus the right information plus the right action equals the right result. And you just can't go wrong with knowing more and gathering more information.
So Gary,
now let's.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had a question. When you're thinking about analyzing all of the different opportunities that are in front of you, and based on your goals and then your process of evaluating, at what point do you figure in your opportunity cost? So if I do this, this, and where does that come into your evaluation? At what point?
Perfect. That was the other part is you were we call it engagement. When you could ask a question, it's where I'm going next. so that's perfect. So I'm going to show you another opportunity. And when I look at properties, guys, and this is something I learned a long time ago, just School of Hard Knocks. I never buy a property if it's the only property I looked at. I always look at 3 properties minimum, usually 6. Okay. And the reason is I'm making my decision, my judgment relative to other opportunities. So in other words, let's say I decided to do this deal and there's another opportunity that was maybe a much bigger project, but it had much less downside risk. Okay. I would probably go for the bigger project. 30 years ago, I'd have said, nope, I got the chicken disease. I'm too chicken to do the big stuff. But now I don't get chicken anymore because I know how to look at properties and calculate upside potential and downside risk. And I know this too. Successful people say yes to opportunity. They don't, with something bigger than you think you're capable of comes your way, if it's within the realm of possibility because of the people you can joint venture with somebody, you can partner with somebody, my gosh, you say yes and you take the opportunity. Okay. Now, I know I'm scaring some people because you're thinking, well, my gosh, what if I put all my eggs in one basket and something does go wrong? That could be disastrous. Well, I would tell you, never put all your eggs in one basket. In the early days, I would risk as much as 1/3 of my holdings or my cash or my ability to borrow money. I would exhaust maybe up to 1/3 of that, sometimes 1/2. When you're starting out early on, you're buying smaller properties, you can take on more risk. But as you grow a portfolio, okay, you're able to reduce your risk because you've got a portfolio, you've got a solid foundation of income producing assets. But I would never borrow against the entire thing to buy a big project that's twice as big as everything I already own collectively. All right. The bigger you get, you do relatively speaking, smaller. They're bigger moves in terms of number of units. You go from a 10 unit to a 20 unit, 30, 40, 50 on up like that. But at the end of the day, if I'm buying a 100 unit building, it's because I've already got a 90, an 80, a 70, a 60, a 50, 40, 30, 10. You see what I'm saying? So I've
Yes.
effectively got several hundred units. And if I borrow to buy a 100 unit building and something goes wrong, I'm still going to be in business. It'll hurt, but I'll still be in business. So the other part of this is this. I mentioned the word project, and here's what I mean by that. You know what, guys, there's other people that I haven't promoted. Hang on one second. Shirley, Mo, good to see you. Good to see you, Shirley. Beverly Miller, and Tony. So now that you're live on video. Okay, here's what I mean by based on size of project. If I have two projects seemingly the same potential, right? Same upside potential, but the remodeling is greater. The need to remodel and improve and repair and take care of deferred maintenance is greater on project B than project A. I will always take project A. I would even spend more for the property, invest more into the property, having a smaller remodeling project, okay? Less deferred maintenance, fewer improvements needed, things like that. The reason is when it comes to parking lots and boilers and roofs and replacing, hundreds of windows and things like that, rewiring. I mean, you may think you got it all figured out, like it's going to be $100,000 to rewire this 28 unit building. Okay. But when you start opening up walls and going through the what you call the chase and all that kind of stuff, you uncover other things. It's just you find an old lead pipe that needs to be replaced, and that's connected to something else. Where you have an old cast iron stack that nobody ever noticed, but it has a big crack in it. Just stuff like that happens, and I can't begin to tell you how many times. I mean, I'm like getting frowns here because I'm thinking of all the big problems I've had. I thought were going to be 50,000, ended up being 100,000. So back to what I'm saying, and back to Melanie's question, I would now lean more towards the better properties that I know are going to have less deferred maintenance and less needs for improvements to get to the next level, as opposed to taking an older building and having to remodel it to be the next higher grade. Number one, it's an uphill battle because you can't fight the age. An old building is an old building. It's got old foundation, old everything. You can make it really pretty. There's some beautiful buildings around the country that are old and very pretty. But if you ask the owners, they will tell you every month they're fixing something. There's always something that goes wrong,
Oh yeah, I used to sell historic homes in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we often, and yeah, we call it a gift because you've put so much money into the property that you've basically gifted it, gifted it back to the city because it's so much upkeep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now let's have some fun. Let's go look at the other property I wanted to show you. Okay. And this one won't take as much time. So let me find, okay, Kelly. Okay, here we go. Let me share screen. Sorry about that. Share. You guys are being great tonight, by the way. You're being totally awesome. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, this includes photos and descriptive text. It's a pretty good example of unit there. I'll show you more information today. So let me go down to the listing now. She's only showing me one listing here that's an example of all these properties that are available. Okay, so let me give you the background on this. This is in a 230 unit townhome community in Newport News, Virginia. If you know anything about Newport News, Virginia, if you're coming down to Virginia Beach, you'll go down 64 from Richmond and go right through Newport News and Hampton and over the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel and on your way into the beautiful Virginia Beach. Okay. So in this community, there are, as far as we know right now, at least 77 units that were bought by investors as part of a big package to everybody buy inside their self-directed IRAs. Okay, big joint venture, big partnership project. They were built, I think, in 1980, maybe 79. There it is, 1979. So you see the square footage, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 937 square feet. Now, all those people now, this is 40 years later, they want to sell,
Oh, wow.
and this is what they're selling them for. I'm thinking we can get it for 65,000 a piece. Okay. Now I took some notes here. Let me find my notes. Okay. Their rents, as far as we can tell, are 900. Let's just say 950 a month, right? She has 966. I'll show you in a second. But let's say 950 a month. The condo fee is 300 a month. The condo fee covers water, sewage, garbage. The condo maintenance fee itself, like groundskeeping, all that is covered, as well as the property tax. I've never seen that before. Have any of you ever seen a condo fee cover the property tax?
No.
Go figure.
Interesting.
Yep.
What about the
Yeah.
roof and
So
windows? Does it cover the roof or windows?
yeah. Yep. All the exterior. Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's the neighborhood right there. And we'll go look at some pictures here. Hang on one second. Look pretty good so far.
Yes.
Notice the landscaping. See
Mhm.
mulch, bushes, trees
Mhm.
compared to the last place.
Yeah, looks nice.
Okay. Yep. Now they're not like Taj Mahals, but look at them. I mean,
Nice,
they're being upkept.
really neat,
Yep.
pretty tight.
Yep. Yep. Street lights, so far I'm liking what I see. Look at the carpet, see
Mhm.
bigger windows, right? That's what you get when you get modern, forced air, HVAC with forced air.
Mhm.
Modern lighting, more modern kitchens, bigger kitchens.
Would
Sliding
this
glass.
be a B minus or a C
Yeah,
plus?
this would probably be a
minus?
solid B.
A
Yep.
B, okay.
And here's a couple reasons why. Number one, it's built post 1978, just barely, but post 1978. There's no chance of lead paint. It has modern building techniques, so the structure foundation hasn't really changed much in the last 40 years. There's been innovations in plumbing and some minor innovations in wiring, but for the most part, you've got breaker panels and stuff like that, as opposed to the old fuse boxes. Everything's going to be square and plumb, right? They had nothing fancy, just straight, solid, good stuff. Good stock. A little bit of the bedroom. One of the two of the bedrooms a little tiny, but
Yeah.
but that's okay. So, any case, now there's more information here. Let me. Oh, here we go. Okay, so it tells you where it is. 213 homes and 22 acres, so lots of free space. 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units. We say average of 3 bedrooms. All right. As close as this, I know this area well. It's close to everything. There's the rent right there. So if you know that this thing's 69,000 and there's 77 that we've got so far, we think we've identified that we can pick up. 966 a month. The price is 69,000. Let's say 65. If we put down 20%, that's 13,000, say roughly, and we finance 52,000. I did some calculations last night, and I figured a 20-year mortgage at amortized and term also 20 years at 4% would be around $300 a month, principal and interest. If I did 30 years at whatever 2 point something percent, I forget, 3%, that would be $215 a month mortgage payment. Even at the reason I like 20-year payouts, by the way, is you pay down faster. You get to that break-even point much more quickly in half the time, by the way. And then you can leverage the property to buy more properties much more quickly. It gives you more power. Yep. So let's say the mortgage payment is $300 a month. Condo is $300 a month. That's $600. Your water, sewage, and garbage is already paid for, right? So all you've got that's $600, and you got $366 left.
And didn't you say taxes
I know.
too?
So you could pay easily. Yep. So you could easily cover the homeowner's insurance with $66 a month, at least $300. let's figure 100 a month maintenance and repairs. I don't think it's going to take that much. I think it'd be more like 50 a month for this type of unit, right? Because you don't have to worry about cutting grass or shoveling snow. You just have to take care of, a broken doorknob here and there and things like that. So let's say it's that takes you down to that's $250 a month net operating income, which is 1,000. That's $3,000 a year, okay, on one unit. If you were to put down 12,000 on a unit and you can make 3,000 on that 12,000, would you do that deal?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. It's a 25% cash on cash return. Okay. And it's just about a 10% cap rate. No, I'm sorry. It's greater than 10% because we've already factored in the mortgage payment. So let's say add 300 back in, that's $550 a month, right? That's 6,600 a year. Is that right? That's a solid 10% cap rate with a 25% cash on cash return. So let's see how many, let's get some more feedback on that. I kind of let the cat out of the bag, but I want to know what you guys think. So just don't be shy. This is, exercise your intuition. More units is better for management costs. So Chris is right. So we did not factor in property management. We should factor in 7% on this.
Well, when you think about this, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
With this one, when you have a condo and everything's maintained, would you even do a property manager? Would you?
If I only owned 1 or 2 units, I would do it myself. If I had 10 units, I would do it myself. But I mean, I'm thinking, I don't know how this is going to shake out, but I'm thinking I might want to buy 50. That's what I'm thinking. And I would definitely use property manager for that.
Gotcha.
Yep. But if you're in the area, you live right down the road and you got 10 units, the grass is being already cut, the snow never happens down there, by the way, it's just being shoveled. And you've only got to worry about the interior. I think I would do it myself. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right.
Yep. But I wanted to show you guys that, not only because it's a great comparison, like a C property compared to a B property. You see the potential difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Less expenses is just as good as positive income. So Susan, I mean, for you, that's actually still not that far away either, especially if we have somebody in the area that's going to be, could manage for it, So
I have a client who moved there. I need to call and tell her to go get one.
Yeah, or 7.
Yeah.
Just leave some for me, So,
Yeah.
rob my piggy bank, But here's the other reason why I want to show this to you guys is these are real, honest to goodness opportunities right now. And if any of you are interested, I don't have anybody in Cincinnati right now. I know Kathy personally. I'm going to talk to her again later this week because she was talking about other things in her life and things she's got going on and all this kind of stuff. And I would feel more comfortable knowing that if you were to invest in some of these properties, especially if I did too, that we have somebody there that we know we can count on. They're going to be there. They're going to be in the business for a while. And I think we got 2 in Newport News and Hampton. Greg Covington already does property management. The girl you saw there, Kelly, is #1 in her office 3 years in a row, and also #1 on what we call the peninsula. She's a 79 sales last year, and I've known her for easily probably 8-9 years now.
Right.
And she was always one of my best students. I mean, just absolute flat out, just did the work, just went out and just went after it. So, and now here she is. So in any case, there's more of these potentially out there. There's 1 or 2 up in Pittsburgh, but there's one in Pittsburgh that involves some residential assisted living, but I'm not fully into that yet. I mean, I want to be, but I don't have experience with that personally. So I would rather do it first, or maybe partner with one person, learn everything, and then have you guys do it. I do have students that,
that's my goal.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested in knowing that opportunity. And then if you are going to send out the opportunities that you had tonight, can you send those an email? Is that
I
okay?
will. Yeah, the one in Pittsburgh, Melanie, it's a 500,000. It's the building is built in 1916, so it's a good
Wow.
at best C property, but
Mhm.
apparently they have 70 beds and it's
Mm,
non-medical. So that's
interesting.
huge income
Yes.
potential.
Yeah.
So I need to find out why are they selling it and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. But I'll send you guys I'll send you the links. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
So in any case, do you guys like that tonight? Going through
Yeah.
these properties like this, and you know, I mean, this is how you really get good at looking at the properties and building your intuition. Just going through the chart, the calculators, and playing with it, and playing with the numbers, and seeing what you can do. We could, like on that big building in Cincinnati, we could have easily lengthened the term. Um, we could have done a number of things there that we didn't even get into, but Jeff and Shirley, and I think Melanie, I think maybe Chris too, the ones that said I want more information. That's really everybody should get to that point, because the more information you gather, the more opportunities you'll see. A lot of investors will simply walk away and never think to turn it sideways or look at it upside down or open it up. And that's really one of the keys to success is look at it as many ways as you possibly can to see how I can make it work, and then do the upside potential and downside risk comparison.
Mhm.
And that quite frankly, that's the process you go through. We can do this. I can do this every day because this is what I really love. I love this part of the business.
Yeah.
I've got some great clients. You know what else I'll do? I'll go back to some of my old clients. We're thankfully we're all friends. I'll invite them to come on, and we'll go look at some of their old purchases. How about that?
That'd be fun. That'd be
And their
fun.
Yeah,
case studies.
this was definitely one of the most helpful classes for me. I mean, this is the nuts and bolts of understanding and taking a
Yeah.
property and running it through the forms. It's super helpful.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll bring on some like Joe Chawansky and Terry Rodney. The thing is, if I bring these guys on, guys, just promise me you won't laugh too hard. Take it with a grain of salt, because they're gonna have fun with me, and we've become friends. And Joe Chawansky, he's from Jersey, and he's all Jersey, you know. So he's one of the smartest, nicest guys I've ever met, and some amazing success stories with his properties. And one in particular I want you to hear about. And Terry Rodney, when I met him, I was teaching him how to flip homes,
Mhm.
and he was a painter. And get this, one of his hands, he was missing fingers.
Oh,
He's
wow.
literally a one-hand painter. And I said, look, let me show you how to flip homes. He did that. And I said, I think you should get your license. He got his license and started helping other flippers. Turned his painting business into a separate entity that then he farmed out to the other investors, right? So he had money coming in from his flips. He had commission income coming in, and had income coming in from his painting business. He just moved down to Florida and bought a place down there near Marco Island. He and his wife, Diane.
Oh,
Yep. And it's only been probably 10 years. Well, the nice guys you could ever meet. And then there's some others. Benny, he just bought he owns 8 restaurants and just bought you guys remember telling me about a seminary I wanted to buy that I wanted to turn into REO? He bought it.
I don't know if I, oh, really?
He bought it, yeah. So in any case, how about that? The student outwits the teacher, you know? But I couldn't be happier for him. So I'll bring these guys on, and it could be a real hoot, because they'll, we go out and stuff, and I'm not a big party animal, but Joe is. He's a character. I got a video of him with his 92-year-old grandmother on one of his Harleys, taking her for a drive through the neighborhood, and she's like pumping her fist and stuff.
That's
Crazy.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's
So,
awesome.
any case, guys, I'm gonna call it quits. But all right, I'm glad you like this. I'll bring on some old clients, maybe one a month or something, and let you pick their brains, ask questions. We'll calculate. We'll do calculations ahead of time, so we have a homework ahead of time, things like that. And anything you want to see or learn, please let me know. Otherwise, I just go based on the emails and the text I get. That's how I determine what we talk about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was really helpful to understand how you think, like the strategy around, okay, well, let's look at it this way, let's look at it that way, and what if this, what if that? So
Yeah.
that is really helpful for us to kind of translate it into this property or that property or Yeah, so thank
Thank
you.
Okay. And I'll give, thank you, Melanie, too, by the way. And I'll give you one more plug for my schedule. I still got some time slots open on Friday. Okay. And some of you I haven't spoken to in a bit. So if I could set them up next week's almost wide open, use the link I set up a one-on-one so we can strategize and, you know, make plans, execute, and measure our success, you know. So don't be shy. I know you're busy. I get it. So successful people are busy, but I don't want to be lonely. So set up a call with me. All right. All right, guys. Have a great night and a good rest of the week. Hey.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Gary, thanks a lot.
Yep.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Night, thank you.
Good night, everyone.